Welcome to the Missouri Valley Conference Game of the Week preview show presented by Mercy, the official orthopedics and sports medicine provider of the Missouri Valley Conference with head coach Brian Wardle. I'm Harry Schroeder. Wednesday night at 8 o'clock on your local Gray Media stations and Matrix Midwest here in St. Louis. The Bradley Braves will be taking on the Valparaiso Beacons. And Brian, first question out of the box, two of your last three, one on terrific plays by Darius Hannah. Can you just take us through maybe both of those plays?
Well, it's that time of year. You got to be able to execute, especially at the end of games. And you every coach kind of has plays in their on their play card and in their back pocket that they hold for certain situations. But it's really what kind of defense are you going to be seeing scheme wise for your personnel, who's playing well at that time, who's hot. And so you got to have some plays that can maybe counter switching, can counter or get the ball to a certain player. And that's all we tried to do in those games. And obviously Darius, we liked a matchup there for him. And Duke can distract a lot of teams defensively. So having him as a decoy helped us in both those games. And then ultimately you got to finish it. And Darius is a great finisher and finish both plays for us. And so it's that time of year. You got to find ways to win games. You got to execute in key moments, and we've been able to do that.
One was the ghost screen. One was the fake handoff. I mean, they were just brilliant. And then, of course, he has to have the athleticism, skill, determination to go pull it off. And I guess this weekend's one he went opposite side, went with the offhand. And that's not a miracle for a left-handed college basketball player, but he's highly skilled and really, you mentioned it, a finisher.
He is. And you have to practice the plays too. Harry, like you got to dummy it. Players got to feel comfortable and confident in it. If your players aren't sure, and I got, some vets that know that play. We've gone over that before. We've ran it in years past. So Darius is very comfortable, and usually he goes and finishes with his left hand and dunks that thing. But I'll take 2 points either way with that play. That's for sure.
You talked about Duke distracting people. He has a great ability to forget maybe what's going on. Like he couldn't throw it in the ocean in the first part of that game and then was brilliant in the second part of that game. That takes a certain kind of personality or ability, doesn't it?
No, it does. And I think that's big with him. Is you have to be you cannot, you got to be very you got to move on to the next play fast. You got to reset fast if you want to be a really good scorer and a really good player. And he has been able to do that. And now every player goes through segments where they struggle with it a little bit and maybe get a little tentative. But when Duke's in attack mode and aggressive like that, he's a problem. And he really turned up when we needed him. I mean, we really rode his back for that about 5 to 8 minute segment where he just carried us. And that's what you see star players do for their teams this time of year. Duke's one of ours and our guy. So we jumped on his back. He carried us, and then other guys stepped up and helped us finish it.
A long time ago, you played Valpo in a 2 overtime game. I mean, it seems like that was like 5 years ago.
I told the staff, I don't even know if watching that game matters. I mean, it was so long ago. But yeah, they're an aggressive team offensively. They got talent. They play very hard. It's going on the road in the Valley on a Wednesday night. Really hard to win games. It just is. So we're gonna have to go show up and play well and play smart and do I know the first game we fouled too much and we let them in the paint a lot, and we got to be better and more disciplined defensively in this game.
You talk about discipline. You've been in a number of those tight games, a number of overtime games this year, and having those older guys around really does help, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it helps. Again, I love having my guys, but you don't need them to win. I mean, the portal has treated Drake very well. Drake went portal in, and they're very good with portal kids from a different program. Now they were obviously with coach, but I could give you 100 teams like that went in the portal and are doing pretty well this year. So these kids are resilient. They adapt quickly nowadays. But it helps having Darius and Duke in there and Christian that have been in our locker room, been in our culture, been in our environment for years. But obviously a team that won our league already is with all new players. Yeah. So it's very doable nowadays. It's not like 10 years ago or 20 years ago at all.
The Beacons have won 2 in a row, 3 of their last 4, and All Right has become a very big focal point of what they're doing offensively, but they're talented around the place. But what do you see in All Right's game?
Just attack mode. I mean, you talk about short memory. I mean, he's straight attack mode against Southern Illinois, just taking shots, very aggressive, downhill, jumps into you. I mean, gets to the foul line, constant green light. So Roger's given them that green light to go shoot and make plays, and he's you know been very, very aggressive in volume wise too. So we got to do a great job on him and not let him get going, because he obviously got going in their last 5 games, and he's really had some big ones.
And talk a little bit about Cooper Schwieger as well.
Good player. I mean, hurt us in the first game. I really like his game because he's efficient. He's efficient. I always say there's a lot of guys that can shoot 20 times and get 20 points, but I like how he plays the game. He plays the game with a high IQ, good feel, unselfishness, and he's a problem down low because he can pass and score in the post. Those are, Walker, Illinois State, and him are, Darius Hannah. They can score in the post, but also pass if you double them and punish you. So he's a problem down there, and we got to do a great job with our post defense in that game.
There are some freshmen that are making big news, like All Right, and some others. Zaxton King's having a big year, but your freshman Johnson has been extremely valuable to your squad, hasn't he? Talk a little bit about Jaquan.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Jaquan was on a team that wasn't winning a lot, he'd put up big numbers. Mm-hmm. And I think he plays his role. He has to sacrifice some part of his games because he's playing behind seniors that are good. And I think you've seen him have big games for us when we need him. But there's no doubt if he was on a team that wasn't battling for a championship or a high seed, he'd probably have a much bigger role and a lot more volume to shoot. But with our team and having some seniors and the upperclassmen around him, he's really bought into his role, embraced it, and been a star in it. And I think when him and Birch come off the bench and are in attack mode, they can get paint touches and create for us. We need that. That makes us a better offensive team, and their physicality defensively helps us. So he's just going to get better and better, and I'm super excited for him as his future grows.
Final thought, Brian, it's the final week of the regular season. And is there anything different you do final week, senior nights, all those kinds of things come up, whether you're on the road or at home? But is there anything you do differently with your team and practice and those kinds of things since it's final week?
Not really. I think you got to stay consistent in your routine. I'm a big believer in that because that helps the guys have confidence, and consistency is big with that. I think they know the moment nowadays. I mean, there's so much social media and so many ways that they know what other teams in the league are doing and where you're at in the standings. And so many people DM them and communicate with them. I don't think you have to go into that as much as a coach anymore. They know where we stand in the league, what we have to get done to put ourselves in position to win Arch Madness. And that's really what it's all about, is can we play good basketball these last 2 games, Bradley basketball the right way, smart, execute. We got to clean some things up still before March hits, and that's what I'm going to really push them to do in practice, is really practice well. Sure, I mean, obviously practice isn't long right now, Harry. No,
yeah,
really efficient. Guys have logged a lot of minutes. You got to be smart there, but can you go down the stretch executing, playing unselfish and playing together and smiling and having fun? I think that's a big thing right now, and that's what we're going to try to do these last 2 games.
Appreciate your time. Best of luck this week, Brian.
Thanks, Harry. Appreciate it.
Our Wednesday night coverage begins at 8 p.m. Central. And for information where you can catch the games, head to mvc-sports.com. For the Missouri Valley Conference, I'm Harry Schroeder.